Hi class, I wanted to give you a visual or an outline of what your documented argument could look like. Please note that in your Pocket Style Manual there is a little bit of a sample student paper. But here is an outline following some of the requirements for our paper. So first, your introduction. Is it attention getting? We can't have my paper is going to be about. Instead, you can use a statistic from your research, a quote, an anecdote. An anecdote is a personal story or incident, maybe the latest news story related to your topic, something to grab your reader's attention and interest them. You want to go from something very general, right? A statistic, a quote, or an anecdote can be very general, and then you're going to go to something very specific. Sometimes in composition theory, this is called an inverted triangle. You don't need to know that, but if that helps you in any way. And then you're very specific. At the bottom of that triangle is going to be your thesis statement with the claim and supporting evidence. You can use the template I give as a general outline. X is your topic, and you could put should be mandated, is important because, is detrimental because, and then you have your reasons. And I just list A, B, and C there. So in the body of your paper, so right after this introduction paragraph, and an introduction paragraph you should try to have, I would say, half a page, at least a third of a page. Introduction paragraph is not 2 lines. So you'll need to give specifics to help make your paper longer and stronger. Strong writing is in the details. So in the body of your paper, you can give a brief history of the topic and provide definitions of key terms. So let's say you want to talk about drones used in warfare. You might want to say when that started and when that really became an issue. Maybe there's key topics, key definitions that you need to provide. So a student once did a paper on fracking and used chemical names or abbreviations that I needed to have defined, right? And I'm a pretty educated person, but I didn't know everything. You can't assume that your reader knows and that has read the same research you have. So it's beneficial to give history or key terms. This may not be necessary for your topic, but if it is, please provide this information. Now, positionality. This talks about your relationship to the topic. I don't believe in 100% objectivity. I believe that we all are influenced by different things. And so we can't say that I'm objective. So what's your relationship with this topic? Why did you choose this topic? Why do you feel this way? I once had a student write in favor of euthanasia, which is also sometimes called assisted suicide. And she made a convincing argument, and she stated her positionality that her father had died from Lou Gehrig's disease, and she had watched him slowly waste away, and she talked about his disappointment in not being able to have control of his functions and live and die the way he wanted to. So we could see why she chose that topic and what it meant to her. Not even if you didn't agree with her, if the other classmates didn't, we had something to anchor it to. So now the body of your paper should follow the ABC order in your thesis. We're lucky to live in the day of word processors where you can move your content around easily. In the old days, we really would cut and paste drafts. I did that my freshman year of college. Had a written paper. Our teacher said, go home, cut it up, put it on poster board and rearrange it so it flows better. And everyone had to do that. So remember that as part of the revision process. But you can do it with word processors. Make sure your thesis and your body of your paper follow the same order. Now this is the next part is different that you may not have done in high school or anything. You get to put a solution or call to action. How can this problem be solved? Who should take the action? Realizing that we are not the government, realizing that we are not millionaires. However, you've done the research, you know enough that you can conjecture ideas and solutions. So who should take action? Citizens, schools, nonprofits, the local government, the federal government. So we could take, let's say, childhood obesity. Should there be local government laws about that? Federal government laws? We've seen a little bit of that with school lunch programs. What about a program like DARE against the drugs, and do it for obesity? I'm not necessarily in favor of this. I'm just saying, if I see a problem, what problem solving do I see? What solutions? What could be done? And then the very bottom of your paper will be the conclusion. You'll summarize the argument. So wrap things up. You're going from very broad again. You want to restate your thesis. It seems redundant, but this is one of the things of academic writing. Don't include new information. Your conclusion is not the place for that. That's your information in your arguments should be in your thesis first, and then the body of your paper, and don't include them in the conclusion. And then to tie it back in with your introduction, you can reference an anecdote, a quote, a statistic again to tie it back into the introduction. And I'm going to add a Roman numeral 4 here. It's in green, but we'll just ignore that for right now. And then you need that separate bibliographic page. This could be the works cited, if you're using MLA, or the references page. So don't forget that all of that needs to be on a separate page, and it does not count towards your page length. So here's sort of an outline you can follow to help as you write your paper. Best wishes.